Okay, so we have this grade difference. So we're building these cylinders that have functions. So it's a functional wall. This video is particularly about the pizza oven. So these are all going to be tiles and surfaced with edging here on the sides. And what happens is we're doing many functional things at the same time. We're retaining the slope. These are for storage for charcoal and for wood. This is a charcoal maker. This is going to be the pizza oven. Here we're going to have a barbecue and a washing station. So we're actually double functioning in these walls by making sure each of these cylinders has a purpose. So the pizza oven itself, we wanted to try a new way, a way that no one has ever done before. So we have cement and lots of metal in this. And the metal is the heat shield. And we also have layers of sand built into this. So the sand and the metal is going to make this last for a very long time. That's our hope. These chimneys are going to be basically upgraded, or if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we'll make it a bit bigger. So everything is experimental. Down here, we're going to also store carbon or wood, whatever we're going to use for the pizza oven. And inside the pizza oven is completed with stainless steel. So hopefully we'll get a couple years out of this. And there's going to be a big platform on top of this and going this way as well. And that platform is going to have massive planters on it. So it's going to be very decorative and very useful. We have our drum upside down and we have these rebars drilled into it. Here we're filling it up with a good sand, and we shake the drum and tamp it so the sand is on the bottom. What this does is allows us to pour cement over top of this. This is going to be a heat shield. We'll have sand that can move around a little bit with the heat, and then we're going to cast a block of cement on top of it. This is the next day, dried. The cement is ready. We need to flip this over. Not an easy task. You got to be careful with those bars that stick out, that they don't grab you. Definitely a two-man job. If you can't do this, you definitely can't do this by yourself. It's like 200 pounds. So we get it flipped over, and we use the roundness of the drum to roll it into place. And that makes it a lot easier as long as you have two guys that are controlling it. And having the heat shield, which is the sand and the cement, is going to make a big difference on this. We're going to roll this into place so that it's right next to another cylinder. The cylinder that's next to it is going to be part of a retaining wall, as said earlier. Here we're making the outer edge with sheet metal that was actually turned for us. Somebody made this into a circle for us with a turning press. We've been using this maybe 20 times already. So here we're finishing it off by screwing it together nicely so that it has a good way of containing itself so it doesn't break open when we fill it up with concrete. Here Pablo's leveling it off, and as you can see, it's really tight to the other one, so it acts as a retaining wall. Here we have some rebar. It's going to be added a bit more rebar on the sides afterwards and on top. And here the guys are making the outer edge of the pizza oven, and the lid that came with the drum is our guide, and this is going to be tack welded onto another sheet of galvanized steel so that it can be very strong. And we're using this measurement of the lid as a guide. Here you can see the tack welding that we've done. This lid goes on top. And we always like to fill empty voids with sand so that they keep their shape nicely, and you basically have nothing pushing down because there's sand in that place. Here the guys are finishing screwing off the sheet metal to each other, and we're going to put the cut side up front so we can get at it. Here the guys are adding the very, very rich 3-to-1 cement to the sheet metal, and as you can see, it's going into the outer space. We used to use a vibrator to do this, but it was too violent. We found that the surface looked kind of funny,
and things moved around. So what we do now is we use a rubber hammer. We find that gives us much more consistent results. And as you can see, the cement is very rich, and we basically build it up slowly and knock it as we're going up. And this cement actually does have a lot of polypropylene fibers in it as well, just to add to the strength. We have lots of, I think this mix is 3-to-1. And as I say, they're filling it up in layers, and then they knock it as it's going up. And this sheet metal releases the cement quite easily. We used to use cooking oil or something like that as a release agent, but we find it's better like this because it lets go anyways, and then when we apply tiles to these surfaces or rock or whatever, it doesn't have that layer of fat in between the finished surface. So here we're getting it level to the top of the drum, which remember has cement and sand in it. So this gets leveled off nicely, and there's a layer of cement on top of the lid itself, which is about half an inch because it is concave. And now the actual area where the fire is going to be placed into the wet cement. So remember, you have now a layer of sheet metal, then you have the cement, then you have the lid, the bottom of the container, then you have sand, then you have cement. That should be strong enough to handle the heat. We don't like to cut out the opening. We prefer to do that later, which you can see it's not very hard to do, especially when you have a mix that hasn't cured properly. So we do it the next day, so it's still nice and soft. So here we go. We're going to start filling this up with sand because we want it to stay in place, A, and B, we don't want anything pushing it in or pushing it down or pushing it out. So this sand actually, keeps it in place and keeps the sheet metal from bending inwards, and the lid, especially the lid. Here we're tapping the sand into place. We find that we don't need to use a lot of excess force on this. Just get it nice and firm with your hands and make sure it's nice and flat. That makes all the difference in the world. Here Pablo's putting the lid on top again. It fits nice and snug. We are going to drill the hole for the chimney. We actually made this hole a little bit bigger if we need a bigger piece. Here we're putting 2 pieces of sheet metal that were the cutouts, and this is also going to help. The cement is going to hold it into place. We're going to cut this so that so that the chimney can go in later if it needs to be bigger. And so here we're just quickly drilling out the hole for the chimney. If it needs to be bigger, it's very easy for us. We have all the drill bits for that. This is a stainless steel piece of pipe. Probably isn't going to be big enough, but we're going to try it anyways. We're presuming that this is going to be a mini fire. It's not going to be a big fire inside here because it's going to get so hot in there because it's just such a small space. So you put the fire in the back and the pizza in the front. That's going to work really well. Here we're filling around the last part of the ring, which is the pizza space. So what happens is the sand keeps everything really nicely into place. If you look at the back of the round sheet metal, it's double layered, and we did that on purpose just so it has 2 layers of stainless steel there. And here we're filling in the ring, and this is going to make it very strong. Again, a very, very rich mix. We have tamped this with a rubber hammer as we've gone up. We're using a cement mixer for this. It's really important to mix your cement really well, especially when it's going to get hot. And everything's protected by sheet metal, sand, and we are hoping that this will work. We're going to find out and test it. And if worst comes to worst, we have to jackhammer it out and do it maybe with clay bricks or however, the better way is. But I'm quite sure this is going to work really well. And here, just this tapping makes the concrete much stronger. Here we're putting the cap on top. And as you can see, there's also the two leftover pieces of sheet metal that are there. Chimney's going in now. And this probably will be replaced. We didn't have anything, and it's so hard for us to get anything where we are. We're in the middle of nowhere. So here we go, putting it in. We're going to finish screeding off the top of this and get it nice and level, so it's level with the cylinder that's next to it. Because we are going to put a great big slab of concrete on top of all this, and that'll give us a lot more strength for the fire. Even if this layer on top cracks, you still have the layer that's higher up that will not crack, and it will stick to the cement because we're going to drill a couple of bars into it as well. So here Pablo's leveling it off nice and flat. Not that it matters so much because we're covering this anyways with another layer. And so this completes day 2. So day 1 was casting the container. So here's we're waiting for this to dry up a little bit so we can screed it a little bit better. If you see those lines, we added a whole bunch of rebar on top just to make it stronger. So this is what the cylinders look like, all at the same height. Pizza oven is at a different height. This is day 3, where we're taking the screws out. And as you can see, no oil needed, no nothing needed as release agent. All we do is we scrape the skin with a trowel the next time we're going to use it. And so this is so tight to the next drum that it's not so easy to get out. So we have to sort of lift it up, dig it out, wiggle it around, and then it comes out nice and easy. And by doing this, then we have no dirt coming through. And we can only tile the front surface, which is going to save us money. So we tile to tile. Basically, the front of the cylinder to the next front of the cylinder will receive a good layer of tiles. So here they're removing the shell. And as you can see, there are no openings. And we kind of like doing this on purpose, like I said before, because we do this the next day. And the cement is so soft that it's so easy to take out. We don't bang it or anything. We just cut it nice and perfect. And that way we get exactly what we want. If we were to frame this up, it's a lot of work because you've got curved walls. And as everyone knows, it's not easy to frame in curves. So here Dario's marking the cutouts. And we decided to go a little bit bigger because we realized that the pizza thing that pushes the pizza in is going to be quite large, and we wanted the space to be quite sufficient to get in and out. And also we're cutting it a little bit bigger because then we can always add sheet metal, put new sheet metal in on top of this, because that's what's so nice about this. If you cut the sheet metal, you can actually put new rings in there anytime you want. And this big diamond saw makes easy work of this fresh cement. We also do not put rebar here. So on purpose, we do not have rebar in this space, so it's actually planned out that we don't add rebar here. Here the whole chunk comes out, so you can see how fresh this cement is. It's not a problem whatsoever. And we're having, we cut a little bit bigger down below because we're putting 2 pieces of marble there. And that's going to be cut on the curve and cemented in. And then the outside of these things get tiled perfectly. Here Dario's cutting the shell, and it's already been sort of pre-marked where we're going and pre-cut a little bit, so it's a lot easier to get it out. And if you remember, there was a lid on top, so it comes out of the top quite easily. If you get the sand out, here we're taking the screws out. We put the joint up front on purpose. So here's the sand coming out that was in there to keep the shape. And by taking this sand out, it's really easy to get your hand in there and see what's going on and get that last piece of sheet metal out. So the sand comes out really easy because it's dry and just filled in there really easily. So the decoration of this is going to be a lot of fun, putting tiles around this and getting it to look really good. And we can't wait to try this out. It's going to be very interesting to have a fire inside here. It's been raining so much here that